Hey everyone, welcome back to My Colourful Country Life. I can't believe it is the end of August already. It feels like the month has just started. I'm not complaining, however, as we've almost made it through winter, although we are apparently in for a really hot summer this year. The local council has been preparing for a bad bushfire season. They've started backburning, chopping down trees, removing debris from the roadsides, and the danger noodles are already out. We spotted an eastern brown snake just near my water tank last weekend, and I mean, they're usually the last of their species to show their faces around here, and I am so not mentally prepared for snake season. Anyway, so it's the end of August, which means it's time for my completed pages video, and this month I finished 9 pages, which is pretty on par for me, so let's get right into it. So the first page I want to show you this month is from Hannah Carlson's Magical Dawn. So with Hannah's new release coming out very soon, which is Tales from Atlantis, it prompted me to pick up a Hannah book again. It's been a few months since I coloured in any of Hannah's books. I do have a preference for Hannah's older books like this one, the ones that are published through Gibbs Smith. Now I can't really put my finger on why. I don't know if it's a change in her style or just with the book format, but I do prefer her older books. So this is the page here that I coloured. Now I haven't ironed it, so it is still a little bit wrinkly. Now with this page, I was originally thinking of using a pink, teal and purple colour scheme with like a purple background. But I feel like I've been using a lot of purple lately and it's not a colour I normally tend to reach for. So I changed my mind and went for this bold fiery red colour, which is right up my alley. I was going to pair that with some orange and yellow flowers as well and maybe do a green background. But when I started colouring the red combo, however, I didn't think the oranges and yellows would be bold enough to hold their own with this combo. So I went with a blue instead to contrast with the red tone. It's kind of like a fire and ice palette, and I really do like the end result. I did keep it very limited. There is literally only 3 colour combos on this page. It was so simple and it didn't actually take very long at all to colour. There is no colour along for this page though, but if you want me to, I can recreate it on another page. I'm sure Hannah will have something similar in one of her many books for us to choose from. Let me know down below if you are interested in me recreating this as a colour along on another page. So for this page, I used polychromos for all the pencil work. There is a little bit of Sakura Jelly Roll metallic pens, and that is here on the butterfly, and also on these little dots on the background. I'll just lift this up. So I've added some white cyano here on the inside of the flowers. Now the background is Neo Color 2s, and I have sprayed it with my beloved Kaisercraft Gold Shimmer Spray. Let me just stand up, excuse my squeaky chair, because I've got to catch this shimmer for you. Let me just change my light. 1 second, there we go. See if that helps catch it. There we go. I've also just flicked on a little bit of my Deco Art metallic acrylic paint in red as well, just to bring some of those red tones into the background. So you might be able to see the metallic gel pen now. And of course that Kaisercraft shimmer and the metallic red paint. So I really like how this page turned out. Like I said, just let me know down below if you want to see me recreate this as a colour along in another Hannah's book, or even this book on a different page. Just let me know down below and we'll see if we can find a page that will work well with that one. So that is Magical Dawn by Hannah Carlson. Next up we have Dimensions, which is a 3D colouring book from Francois Gautier. This page is also not a colour along, so this one in the Hannah Carlson books, neither page is a colour along, but every single page after this one is up on the channel as a colour along for you guys to follow if you would like to. Now I got a lot of comments regarding this book, a lot of people saying that they've never seen or heard of it before. And probably equally as many comments saying that they have or had the book and have either not coloured in it yet or given it away as they weren't sure how to work with the line art. So For those of you who haven't seen it before, I'm just going to give you a quick flip through of the book. And we'll start from the back here. So you can slow down the speed of this video or pause it if you want to have a closer look at the pages. I'm just going to quickly flip through and show you. So as the title suggests, the images have been drawn to give the illusion of 3D, and the artist, Francois, has created that effect with his use of grayscale to create shadows. Now, as far as how to colour these images, so I think you can colour these as normal and it would still look 3D due to the grayscale underneath. Now, the only changes I made when colouring my page, which you'll see in a second, is with, I really like this page here, is with the areas in shadow. I added a darker shade to my colour combo whilst also removing the lighter shade. This one's a great page too. And that's it. That's the only change I made to the colour, to my colouring. I added one and I took one away. So, let's have a quick flip through. Now, these sort of geometrical shapes, I'm not such a fan of, especially these ones here. But there are some awesome pictures. So for those of you that have this book already and are unsure, look at this one. This one will be really cool to colour with a little, can you imagine all the different splashes of colour? Got a little paint down there, paint palette. You can see all the different colours coming up into the birds. That'd be really pretty. So as I was about to say, for those of you that have the book already and are unsure how to get started, let me know down below if you guys are interested in a colour along. And I will see if I can get one done in September for you all. Also, the paper in this book is really nice to work with. It's not super thick, but the images are single-sided. So if you're thinking about using alcohol markers or water mediums, just test them in the back to make sure they don't bleed through or pop something in between your pages for some protection as well. This one's really cute, the Queen Bee page. There are some wonderful images. So these ones don't really interest me as much. This one I like. I'm not so sure about all the little details. That one will be fun. Kind of an Aztec skull type thing. There's another page I really like in here too, which would be great for autumn, even though there it is. Even though we're going into spring here in Australia, I know a lot of you are going into autumn. This one here would be perfect. The acorns are sort of autumnal leaves and maple leaves. You can see this in a lot of, coloured in a lot of rich reds, oranges, browns. I think that's a really pretty page. And where's the one I coloured? Oh, there's another page there. Okay, so this is the page I coloured, and the entire image is basically coloured just with Prismacolor pencils. There is a little bit of a white Signo gel pen, basically just on the eyes of all the animals, and also here just on the little glass window panes as well. There is some Jelly Roll metallic silver on the top of the building, and the mist here on the mountain, that was coloured with Sakura Koi watercolour paints. So this is my favourite of Francois' colouring books. Those of you that aren't familiar with his work, his other books do have more of a darker theme along the lines of gothic horror style books. They are really good for Halloween for those of you who like to colour that style of book. I do have his first book, Dark Art, and I think there's a flip through up on my channel of it as well. I don't have his others. I don't colour horror or scary stuff that often, so I don't feel the need to get the others. I have enough of that style of book as it is, although some may argue with me that Kirby's work can be a bit scary too. But that is Dimensions by Francois Gautier. Next up, we have Meine Reise, durch Asien by Rita Berman, and I think this may just be my all-time favourite reader book. I love her Journey Through Continents series. I am looking forward to her Africa book coming out. I can see that one becoming a new favourite. Where does everyone think she's off to next? I've got a feeling it's going to be South America, or perhaps North America. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. So this is the page that I coloured, and it is a colour along up on the channel. I really like the soft and delicate palette that I chose, as opposed to my usual in-your-face bold colours. I tried to keep this page to a fairly limited palette. Originally, I wasn't going to add any green onto the page. I was going to create more of a blue tone leaf and keep it as just pinks and blues, but I am glad I went with the green. I think it complements the pink really nicely. So for this page, I use Prismacolor pencils for all the pencil work. There's some gold metallic jelly roll on the dots in the background, and also a little bit on the bird here as well. Now, I used a touch of Wink of Stella just on the bottom of the lanterns here. It's very hard to see. You've got to catch it in the right light, I guess. And white Signo to outline the pink flowers. It has discoloured just a little bit. Now, I did spray my page with fixative before adding the white Signo and again afterwards, but those pink tones still managed to discolour with the white gel pen a little bit. And this only seems to happen to me with pinks. And it's not quite as bad if you use an acrylic paint pen like Posca or Tuli Art. Next time I'm whitening out the lines around a pink element, I'm either going to white them out first with an acrylic paint pen, which is the most logical solution. But sometimes you don't know until the end that you want the lines gone or even just toned down a little bit. So using an acrylic paint pen at the end, either in a white, a really pale pink, or even a cream, depending on the colour scheme, will help to prevent any bleed through. I have also used Tuli Art paint pens just to outline the clouds and the mist around the lantern, and also just on the edges of the green flowers a little bit. And there is some Jelly Roll glaze in clear on the centres of the flower, and also Jelly Roll glaze in pink on the little dots that are also on all the pink flowers. So that is Rita Berman's Meine Reise, durch Asien. And next we have Fragile World by Kirby Roseanne. So this page was a special request that I managed to squeeze in at the end of the month, and I am so glad I did. It may just be my favourite page this month. This is the otter page. When I first looked at this page, I knew my otter was going to be some shade of brown, my water was going to be blue, and my fish orange. I was originally thinking of a pinkish red sunset, but instead decided to keep it to the current colour scheme and make it more of an orangey yellow to match the fish. Now, you guys know I love colouring any ocean themed pictures. I love colouring water, but it did take me a minute to work out how I wanted the colour the otter's fur under the water. Now, I imagine fur is no different to hair when underwater, and I'm a brunette, but when I'm swimming underwater, my hair looks black. So I needed his underwater fur to be a bit darker. So to create that look, I used the same colour combo as I did on the fur above the water. I just forego the lightest few shades, and then I went back over the lightest parts of the fur with my blue pencils just to try to add to that underwater illusion. Now, I'm not here colouring anything hyper realistic. That's not really my style of colouring. So I think I achieved the effect I wanted whilst keeping with my usual style. And honestly, I am in love with how this page turned out, if I may say so myself. So all pencil work is done with polychromos. They work like a dream in Kirby's book. This month, I found a renewed love for my polychromos pencils. They were originally, when I first got my first set of polychromos, they were my favourite pencils. I ended up leaning more towards Prismacolors though, simply because I preferred the Prismacolor colour range to the polys. And now my Prismas are basically like an extension of my own hand. I know them so well, but I do miss working with polys a little bit. So there is a colour along for this page up on my channel. If I remember, I will link it up above. And the background here is all Neocolor 2s. There is some black Jelly Roll glaze on the eyes of the fish, and also my white signo for the bubbles and the foam on top of the water, and also just a little bit on the fruits that he has in his hands. So that is our otter page from A Fragile World by Kirby Roseannes. And now we've come to the first of our full book colour alongs, where every page from this book is up on my channel as a colour along, and I've completed 3 pages this month from Mythic World by Kirby Roseannes. So first up is this page here. Now this one is coloured completely with polychromos. There is a tiny bit of black jelly roll glaze on their eyes, and I've added some distress ink to the background for a bit of a misty look. Before I added the distress ink, I thought the page looked just a little bit too pretty. Now, don't get me wrong, it did look great, but it didn't quite fit the mood that I was looking for. I wanted it to be a bit more atmospheric. So I have to say I was a little bit nervous adding the ink. The page looked really good without it, and I was worried I was going to stuff it up. But it ended up working out the way I pictured it in my head, which was a relief. And I think it really did change up the mood of the page, which was the look that I was going for. Now, someone did comment that I deviated from the myth with this one, as the myth has these little supernatural beings as pale skin with red hair. So yeah, you're right, I did, but mostly because it just didn't fit with my colour palette. I wanted a limited palette of just browns and greens, hence why the background is also green, which was also meant to give the illusion of depth to the forest too. I also wanted these little guys to blend into the forest elements and not stand out, which they would have done if I'd coloured them true to the myth. I do tend to look to the actual myth for colour palette ideas, but every now and then I will deviate somewhat just to suit what I think will look best on my page, and I'm personally really happy with my end result. The layering of the trees with the polychromos, though, it felt like it took forever. It was worth it, and they came out this beautiful rich golden brown. That was before I put all the black distress ink over the top though. You can kind of see a little bit of the colour here peeking through the original colours before the black ink went over the top. So that was our first page in Mythic World by Kirby Roseannes. The next page I coloured in this book is the 4 Guardians of the East. The East? 4 Guardians of Iceland. We've done the 4 Guardians of the East. That was last month. The 4 Guardians of Iceland. This page was a lot of fun to colour. I really enjoyed colouring the sky and the northern lights. I find big blends like that quite relaxing to colour, but gosh, did it eat away my blue pencils. I could have gone 2 ways with this page, I think, when it comes to the colour scheme. Obviously, I've chosen to go with a limited palette. I did think about making it more of a snowy layout, but I wanted something a little bit more dark, a little bit more bolder. I did keep the mountains light on the top and through some other areas to give the illusion of snow-capped mountains. But I still wanted them to have a bit of greenery. I didn't want them to be just white with a bit of blue, a bit of grey. So for this one, I used Prismacolor pencils for pretty much everything, including the sky. We do have some Toolie paint pen outlining the lighter parts of our clouds. And we've got a little bit of Wink of Stella on this guy's horns. We've got some metallic jelly roll in silver on the headpiece, and jelly roll glaze in black, sorry, for the eyes. And of course we've got our white Signo gel pen for the sea foam. So that is the second page we coloured in Mythic World. And the third page we coloured was Isis. So I could not decide on a colour scheme for this page. I completed all the gold areas and I put up a poll over on my Instagram. So my Instagram is linked down below. The poll I put up had a couple of different colour schemes I was tossing up between. Blue and gold was obviously the winner, so that's what I went with. Now, all the pencil work on this page is Prismacolor pencils. I have added some stickles on her top eyelid. Let me lift this up and see. I can't see my camera, so hopefully you can see that glitter. Now, I didn't have gold stickles or gold glitter, which I would have preferred to use. So I did use the closest colour I could find, and I still really do like that effect. There is some gold metallic jelly roll around the edges of her headdress and the external parts of her wings. Also up here, there's a little bit too. And for the outside of the blue feathers, it's a Jelly Roll Stardust pen in blue. Now the background was done with Neo Colored 2s, and I have sprayed on my favorite Kaiser Craft shimmer spray in gold for this page. It is just so shiny and shimmery and I love it. And let me lift it up 1 second. There goes my squeaky chair. And you can see that shimmery goodness. Let's see if you can see her eyes. Look at that. So that is the third page and last page we coloured in Mythic World, and as you can see, this book is getting so full. We are getting so close. I can actually see the finish line. And last but not least is our other full book colour along, Rooms of Wonder by Joanna Basford. And I've completed 2 pages in this book this month, both of which are of course colour alongs up on the channel. And the first page I completed is the typewriter page here. Does anybody remember me saying I was going to colour this book front to back in order? So that clearly never happened. I put up a progress video on Instagram. It's a flip through showing what we've done so far, as we've just hit 25% completed mark. And also what's still left to go, which feels like a lot. And I've literally coloured no pages in the front of this book. This page is the closest to the front I've gotten, I think. Yes, it is. So that might be a challenge for me for September, to colour a page from the front of the book instead. Okay, so I really love how soft and pretty this page turned out. So much pink. It looks like I've been influenced by the Barbie movie for this colour scheme. So all the pencil work is Prismacolor. We have Distress inks for the sky using my cloud stencil. The cloud stencil is linked in my Amazon store down below. I tend to get a few questions about that one, so it is linked down below in my Amazon store for anyone who is on the lookout for that stencil. There is Wink of Stella on the center of the blue and yellow flowers, and Jelly Roll Stardust in the center of the orange and the pink flowers, and also on the butterflies. There's Jelly Roll Metallic in gold on the border, and also on the knobs here of the desk drawer and the key. And lastly, the Imagine brand Sheer Shimmer Spritz in Sparkle. I have to be very careful saying that. Got to say that really slow. Sheer Shimmer Spritz and Sparkle. This is such a fine grained glitter. It is so teeny. I'm going to stand up again, so there goes the squeak. So we can see it on the screen. It looks so pretty in real life. It gives off just the slightest little shimmer, and I really want to be able to show you. So this is similar to the Kaiser Craft shimmer spray, but really, really fine. I don't know if it's showing. My light's about to get in the way there. Hang on. Can you see it? I don't know. I'm not sure if it's showing up on the camera. It just looks so pretty in real life. It's so light and fine. Like if you were using, say, like a glittery eyeshadow, and you know that like the powder payoff, that stuff gets everywhere, and you see like that fine powder payoff. That's what it reminds me of. It's just really pretty, really subtle as well. So that was our first page in Rooms of Wonder. And our final page this month for this book and for the month is our bubble bath page. Now this page I wanted to be really bright and colourful, which I think I achieved, and I felt the need to fill in the negative space for the background on this page. So I've just added in some bubbles since it is a bubble bath page, and I try to keep the colour scheme light but bright. And now that pot, I left that pot right up until the end. I had no idea what I wanted to do with it. I just could not picture it coloured in my head, not until the very end. So on this page, I used Prismacolors for pretty much all of it. There is some CSY paints on the pot. There's some Jelly Roll Stardust on the bath towels. just here in purple. Yeah, you can see hopefully you can see the shimmer of the CSY paint as well. We've got some Jelly Roll metallics on the window and the taps. We've got some Wink Stella, which is on the bottles and also just on this little part of the radio. Of course, we've got some Signo white as well. Now, the pink and the lavender has bled through into the Signo a little bit, like I said with Rita Berman's book as well. You would think I'd have learnt my lesson by now and swapped it out, but maybe next time. There's always next time. So guys, that's all my completed pages for the month of August. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I have absolutely no idea what September will bring colouring wise, except of course we'll be working in our 2 full book colour alongs as usual. Any suggestions are always welcome. Just pop them in the comments down below and I will see what I can do. No promises though, as it really depends if the page is calling to me when I look at it. Even in our 2 full book colour alongs, if there's a particular page you'd like coloured next in those, let me know. And on that note, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.